you go in Israel now, you can't like go a few meters without seeing some like commemoration of the people who were killed or the hostages that we still have, over 100 hostages who are still in Gaza, or who knows now. So yeah, it's like we try to function as usual. I think Israelis, we're really good at that. No matter what's
Yeah.
going on, we like go to work, we go to coffee shops, we try to live life. We have holidays. This one was the weirdest, like everything that we've been through, any like, I would consider them now, they seem minor, these wars we had in the
Mm.
past. Like, I've been in Israel since 1995, but October 7th is something that like really changed the trajectory of like how I see my life here, also how I view people, like all the backlash that just regular citizens like me are getting for something like, anyways, it's a lot. But
Can
yeah.
you elaborate on that one? Like how much your life changed and how you perceive the world since the 7th of October? Because that's a topic that I think a lot of people are interested.
I think we just, no matter like, even for example, for my sister living in Nashville, there's always since 2005, it hasn't been quiet there since we had our agreement that didn't quite lead to peace. There, since they've been getting rockets there. Ashkelon, the city like that I grew up in, was a city in Israel that nobody wasn't really on the map. And then since 2005, everybody, it's like it's infamous for getting hit by rockets often. But we also always like, kind of trusted the Iron Dome and military, and no matter what was going on, we had this sense of security and we felt safe. And on October 7th, we woke up to a nightmare. Like I can't even explain. There was like 3 months that day felt unreal. Like I woke up in the morning to 70 something messages. And I have friends that like my friends that are in the southern, that were literally affected by this. Nieces and nephews killed, brothers killed. My sister was in, she doesn't even, like, she couldn't have access to her bomb shelter. And she has her husband, 3 small children. They were under a staircase for over 30 hours because they couldn't leave the house and there were like terrorists in the street. She's like trying to talk to, it was just a mess. Like that day, I felt like nobody in Israel, we didn't breathe. I'm like, until she came to my house, like eventually, like they all like, we took in friends. Some people came to, like, whoever had space that were in a safe area, they just evacuated. So eventually she got out, and I had like also other friends from Ashkelon who stayed with me. But immediately, not even 24 hours later, all of our men went to war. And that was another, like, I'm not a person who ever had like sleeping problems. My husband would like laugh at me that I can sleep anywhere, but I found out after October 7th that I didn't sleep for 3 months, let's say, like until I knew my brother was like home. He had a break from like, then I could finally like, and it wasn't just him, like that was just the closest person to me, but I had like several also friends and other family members. It was just an insane time. And now I kind of like the fact that I can just talk about it without enough time passed, and I kind of think we kind of practice this. We have to like dissociate from everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, I feel lucky and blessed that I have a son. Like, usually I remember during COVID, I would say, "Oh man, what do kids do with kids during that time?" I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I don't have kids." And now I was saying, I'm so lucky I have a child because he was my reason to wake up. If not, I would be in bed, balled up, crying. I know I had to get up and feed him and do something. So he was like my reason to get up until I got, back out and functioning as normal. But speaking of nutrition, it like really affected not just me, it affected my work. I felt so like I was supposed to work while all of this was going on, talking about food. And I'm like, people are in tunnels under the ground, and people lost their family members in funerals. And my clients this was like a project that I was working with of pre-diabetic people. He's telling me my son's on the front lines in Gaza. I'm emotionally eating. You think I'm telling him, "Oh no, watch your weight, like don't eat too much"? Like at that point, we don't talk anything about food. I'm just trying to give him like emotional support and just like, of course, not like, help harm his health, but just different exercising things not related to food, to just like disconnect from the news as much as possible, and things like that. So yeah, that was a difficult time in a lot of me. I just felt like the fact that just it was a privilege to even worry about your nutrition. It was like this. So it kind of changed my perspective about a lot of things in life. But that's just an example that I thought
Yeah.
of.
No, that's exactly the how I relate to that, because I think a tragedy of that size puts your whole life into perspective, and you measure things in a different way. So I will never forget that from the 6th to the 7th, that Friday, I was flying from Dublin to Lisbon, okay? And the flight was delayed for 6 or 7 hours, which is the longest delay I've ever experienced in my life. And I was very upset when I arrived to Portugal, to my family, and said, oh, this is going to ruin my whole holiday, because I have everything scheduled, and now I'm arriving 7 hours later. This holiday is not going to go very well. If it starts like that, then of course I went to sleep. I slept, and I spoke to my parents. And when I started to check the news at lunchtime, things were starting to be available on the internet. And I said, it doesn't matter. 6 hours delay. There are people being slaughtered. We don't know exactly what's going on, but whatever it is, it sounds much more horrible than waiting for a plane, during the night at the airport. So it really changes your perspective. Yeah, yeah,
It was
yes,
late for us here. Why did I have 70 messages when I woke up? Because people, they had literally were sending me pictures on WhatsApp, like terrorists in front of their door, and people, like, it was just crazy, and nobody knows. Like, there were no soldiers. It wasn't on the news. We're like looking on the news, like, what's happening? Usually, like, you have Iron Dome that intercepts a lot of the
yes,
rockets. My sister told me at that point it started, like, I think maybe like 8 in the morning. No, it's at 6 in the morning. By 8 in the morning, she told me, like, she can't even count. It was like more than 70 rockets, which was unheard of until that time. Eventually, the next day it was 270 something afterwards. But like, and she said, no, she didn't. We didn't know what was going on. Like, that was the scariest. I think maybe by 9 o'clock, then we found out what was really going on. But like the first, it was just scary because nobody knew how bad it was, what's going on. People were like in their homes and didn't know where to go. I lived in a really mixed area. Like, I live in like near Zichron Yaakov, Caesarea, this area. So I have a lot of, like, mixed villages and Arab villages around us. So we weren't sure, like, who is this coming from?
mhm,
Because we, like, here in this area, we, like, all, unlike what the media shows, we do coexist. Like, you do have a lot of
yes,
like Israeli Arabs here, and we like work together, we celebrate together. So we didn't know what was going on because we just heard like a lot. So yeah. So we
yeah.
were like, people were
That's
locking their
something for
doors and
yeah.
hiding.
That's something for people to take note. Like in Israel, people coexist. There is a large percentage of Arabs, as far as I know, it's around 20%. They have jobs, they have rights, they have dignity. I'd say most of them experience privilege they don't experience in their home countries.
Yeah, and they, like, here it showed, it was evident on October 7th when they're not even Jewish, but they also went to the military voluntarily, even though they didn't have to. They're not drafted, and we have a large Israeli Arab population that also went because the people don't understand that they're getting hit too. Like, one of my clients, she was telling me she lives in Khalid Khofish. It's a village in northern part of Israel. So she's, till this day, she says, like, I haven't had quiet since October 7th. So she's an Arab Israeli, and she also, like, she's here, and they're suffering as much as, like, people think it's just Jews, but no,
Yeah.
we have a lot of minorities here. We have Druze people, we have
Mm.
the Cherkessi people, Bedouins, Christians, like, so yeah, it's crazy. People don't know on October 7th, just Thai workers who were just here
Mhm.
making a living, they were also affected. I have a friend who, like, she's half Thai, half Israeli. So she kind of is like organizes them and everything. So she had to, like, call their home and help send their bodies to Thailand on October 7th. So
Yeah. And the other thing that I just concluded out of your words, that you are not that near. Israel is a small country, but still you were like, I don't know, 100 kilometers away or something like that from the border.
yeah.
But the fact that it's it's a small community living in Israel, you always know someone who was there, or you know someone who has their best friend or the
Yes.
nephew. So there's no way that you are outside of the story. Like, you'll be impacted, from any angle.
Really, it's I can it's so Israel is so small, and I don't know one, like, I don't know a single person that I know that wasn't affected, that didn't
Mm.
have a friend, a neighbor, a family member, a colleague that didn't get affected by October 7th, either killed, kidnapped, or in the hospital, like severely injured. And I don't know anyone, no one.
And as you said, like a couple of weeks after, or a month or something like that, your brother was sent to Gaza. He already came back, thank God. And how was it for you to know that he was there? I mean, I know there's a lot of stress, but when he came back, like, how was the whole thing from A to Z?
So my brother, my younger brother, he was sent to the Lebanon border. So he was on
Lebanon.
the border with Lebanon, yeah, and he was there for 4 months. And now, anyways, I don't think we're even supposed to disclose their locations, but now it's okay. He's back from there now.
Mhm.
But everybody got redrafted again. They came home in May, and now a lot of men are redrafted again. But one of my best friends, he was in Gaza. He was sending me pictures. Like it was insane. Like, and he just had a baby. So like, and I know he's just like, that's just one example. I know it's a close friend from the military, but imagine that there are thousands of people like that in the same situation.